Hi guys, we're back to Ripple. So currently Ripple, after a pretty good week last week, and we're going to look at what's the new resistance and support levels, as well as the usual weekly Wyckoff chart, like Wyckoff stages. And in addition, there's something new that I'm bringing in is the Wyckoff stages within the daily chart. One thing to note, however, is whatever happens in the daily, it's going to be confined by what's happening on the weekly. So the weekly controls how far up and down the daily can go. So just be mindful of that. Let's get started. So here we have this Wyckoff chart, and basically if we look at the line chart, it's clearer. We're probably having another LPSY showing up after the sign of weakness, and as of this moment, this downward trend, it's pretty much over, I would say, because unless one thing is you drag it very wide, then you can say if you look at the wicks, it's still within the downward trend. We can keep the box here for now, but more important is these two lines, the green and the purple. So basically, if we look at what's happening since I would say mid-March, the trading has been happening mostly within these two lines. So the first one, that's the immediate resistance, that's $2.6, and then the immediate support would be around $2.10, and beyond that, the resistance would be 2.95 roughly. Support, that would be around, well, I would say below the purple. There's one over here I had $1.90 roughly. Obviously, if you have been following my sessions, you know these kind of boxes, these playground zones, also provide certain support and resistance, as we can see over here and here, right? So when the price hit around $2.30, right at the tip, I want to move this tag away so you can see it clearly. I was trying to talk about here. So right as it tries to go over the top of the box, it was basically stopped and then dropped back to where we are now. So that's basically the big picture and the resistance and support levels. And if we look at the daily, over here we see the downward trend we previously drawn, right? And currently is edging along the top edge. So you can say it faked out yesterday, and then now it has returned back to the box. So we'll keep the box for longer. However, remember, we talked about this multiple times. We are getting into this triangle, this corner. By later this month, in 2 to 3 weeks time, we'll see either it break outside of the pink box or it's coming out of this downward trend. So that's the trend that we can see, the message we can see from the chart. Now the important, or like the funny, interesting part is putting in the Wyckoff into the daily analysis. So quickly, if I drag this over and treat this as the buying climax, right? And we had the preliminary supply period, and also obviously that was the automatic reaction. There wasn't much of a second test because the price already came down over here. I would say that was the selling climax. That looks like it to me, at least. And then there was an automatic rally, and then another test, or maybe that's a spring. It doesn't matter, it's still a test. This may probably be a sign of strength. So I have got that automatic rally disappeared, so I'm getting it back. Sign of strength, it's back. Okay, that's good. That looks fine to me. And the key thing is, once we get over this, after a sign of strength, it doesn't mean the accumulation has finished. So remember, after sign of strength, there can be a pullback like even lower than the previous test before it pumps. Okay, so don't expect a pump to be immediate. If like a price drop happens, that's also natural. So back to the daily, let's plug back the text for the previous accumulation as well. Let's say that was the selling climax, and we had the automatic rally, and obviously there was the PSY period, not PSY, PS period, preliminary support instead of supply, and eventually we had the sign of strength, and also that's the track back I mentioned, the backup and last point of support period. So, or stage, yeah. So that's how I would look at the daily chart if I were to apply the Wyckoff as well. So remember, this is very tricky to apply Wyckoff in a low level timeline because there will be a lot of noise and the patterns look so similar to each other. So that's why I always prefer to first look at the weekly and understand what Wyckoff stage that it's at, as well as the whales. They do things big and they plan long. So the daily chart may not be the best fit, however the community asks for it, so that's why I'm putting it here. So hopefully this gives you another perspective to look at where the price is going. So at this stage of accumulation, expect something happen like within this range, and then when the pumps come, buying climax may or may not be as high as the previous one, because like I said, the weekly, currently we are not at a stage where a pump would likely happen. So if we are at this stage, obviously you can expect an upthrust or an even upthrust of the distribution, but currently we are in a downward trend and after the upthrust on a higher level time frame. So sorry, let me move back to the chart. That was too excited and forgot to change the view. So this is what I was talking. So the weekly, we're in a like downward trend after the upthrust. Whatever happens in the daily, when we are expecting a new distribution in the daily, it's not easy to go back to the level as before if the stage in the weekly is like at the later stage of distribution. That's what I was trying to bring out. So that's it for Ripple.